In the previous video, we have added the biome centers in our world. Now I would like to add some offset to those so that you know how to do it using our domain warping. And next we are going to focus on creating a next biome, a desert biome. So let's stop it. What we are going to do is inside our terrain generator, I want to add a domain warping. Okay. And we will want to assign some noise settings to it. Now I think that we had those domain warping X and Y from our previous settings. Of course you can add different ones here. I will set maybe the amplitude to be something like 130 and Y on about 78. At any point you may want to tweak it to fit your needs, but I will reuse the same parameters and simply change the amplitudes here. And we are going to use this to add some offset to our biome centers. So let's go to our terrain generator script, edit the script, and inside our generate biome points, we will add some logic. So let's actually at the top, we are going to create a public domain warping. And let's call it biome domain warping. Okay. And what we can do is simply go to our generate biome points for tab to create this, I equals 0, and instead of length we are going to type biome center.count. So for each biome we are going to call our vector to int domain warping offset, and we are going to call biome domain warping dot generate domain offset. And I think that we want to have the int value because our biome centers are using vector3 int as a list, so we need to calculate the int, and we need to pass x and y. So what we can do is call biome centers, and we can take I and dot x, since we have those parameters of each of those biome centers, so we can use those center points to calculate the domain warping noise. Okay, let me use enter to space it a bit so we can see it. And what we can do is call our biome centers with index I plus equals new vector3 int, because this contains vector3 int, but we have calculated vector2 int, and we can pass domain warping offset dot x 0 and domain warping dot y as z value. And now we are going to simply add this offset to our biomes. Let's save it and let's see in our generation how it worked out. We need to assign our domain warping. And now let's press play and let's try generating it. And now as you can see, and I think this might be a bit too big of an offset here especially. So let's modify those, I don't know, maybe let's set 20 and 20. It seems like we had offsetted those a bit. So let's press play, regenerate. And now, okay, now this looks much better. We can see that those are not in a straight line anymore, although I think it all depends on the noise settings that we pass here. But basically, we have added some change here. And this is how we would modify those points. Okay, with this done, let's stop it. And we can add another biome generator. And actually, what we can do is simply Control D to duplicate this. And let's call this desert biome generator. Okay, and what will be different in our desert biome generator? Well, one thing that I do not want to have is water in our desert. So I will simply delete this water layer. And instead, we are going to assign our desert biome generator as the starting layer. This will be our air layer. Okay, let me try again. Here it is. So we have our start layer as air. Next we are going to have a surface. Next we're going to have underground. And from additional layers, I don't know if we want to have our stone layer. So we may want to simply remove it. And inside our desert biome generator, we are going to have a missing element. Now, I don't want to have trees either, but of course you can add those additional layers. I will simply set it to be 0. And I will remove tree layers as well. So now we are going to have those layers working as intended, and we are not going to have a stone and no trees. Now, we need to change the surface type. For the surface layer, we are going to change from a grass, dirt. We are going to set it to be our sand. Okay? Underground layer will be not dirt, but again, we are going to set it to be sand. Okay, so for our example, this is enough. Now we need to have a way to actually inform our terrain generator that we have another biome. So what we can do is we can go to our terrain generator script, click those three dots and edit this script. And we are going to slide it down, and outside of this class we can define a struct. This will be a serializable struct, so we can show it in the inspector. Public struct biome data, and this will take a range of 0 to 1. Public float temperature, start threshold, and temperature end threshold. Now, as I have said, we are going to calculate a noise value for each of the center points, and next we are going to be able to select that, okay, this is between 0 and 0.5. Then we are going to select this biome, and another parameter will be from 0.5 to 1. Next will be another biome, and basically this is the idea here. So we will want to have those, and at the top of our class we are going to create a list of those. So we are going to create a list, serialized field, private, list of biome data, biome generators data equals new list of biome data. Okay, now before we can do something with this this list of biome data, we will need to also have a list of the noise data for each biome. So let's create, just below the biome centers, we are going to create a list of float values. This will be biome noise equals new list of float values. And we will need to have near the biome domain warping, we are going to create a serialized field. And this will be private noise settings, biome noise settings, which we are going to basically use to generate our biome noise, which is the temperature, for example. Okay, so let's slide it down, and when we are generating our biome points, we can call our biome noise list equals, and we are going to call calculate biome noise, and we are going to pass the biome centers, and we are going to pass the map seed offset here. We do not have this method, so right click here, quick actions, and generate this method. And here we are going to simply generate our noise for the biome, so the temperature noise, for example. And this will be our biome noise settings.world offset. We are going to always set it to be map seed offset. Now I'm sure that you can set it only once somewhere, but that's how I have coded it. And we are going to return, and we are going to use a link library to call our biome centers. So we are going to call select, right click on this, quick action, and using system.link. Basically what it will do, it will select each position on our biome centers or each object in the IEnumerable or a collection that we pass to it. So we are going to check to take as a parameter center, and we are going to use lambda expression. So for this parameter, select will return the value that we are going to pass here. And here we are going to simply pass my noise.octave_perlin, and we are going to pass the center. Since we have our center point, we can have x and center.y. And next we are going to pass our biome noise settings as a noise settings to use for the calculation. Now this, by default, will return to us IEnumerable, so a lazy way to evaluate a collection. We want to convert it to list, to have a list returned, because that's what we will need to return. So basically this will select each center point and return for it a float value that is calculated using our myNoise octave_perlin noise method. And it will convert those values to a list, so we are going to at the end return a list of float of the noise values for each biome center. So now we are going to be able to basically take a value of a noise for each center point. So those will be of equal count. So the index in this, so the index representing the center will be adequate to the index here representing the noise value. And this is how we are going to compare our biome data. So last thing that we are going to do in this video is to fill in this list of biome data. So let's go back to Unity. Okay. And here we are going to extend our biome generators data. We are going to add element, actually 2 elements. First one will be from 0 to 0.5, and this will be our biome first. So this is our default grass biome. And the second one element will be from 0.5 to 1, and we are going to drag here our desert biome generator. So basically, if the temperature is higher, so the noise for the temperature is higher than 0.5, then we are going to use the desert biome. Let's just check if our project works, if we didn't break anything by mistake. Okay, so let's stop it, and we are going to assign our biome noise settings. So inside our, I think we do not have any specific folder for it, so let's create it inside our scripts, data, noise settings, and let's call it biome temperature noise settings. Okay, and here we can set our noise zoom to be 0.05, octaves to be 1 octave, the offset to be 50 and 50, or anything that you want to set here. You can test different values. World offset will be set. The persistence, let's set it to be 0.5. The redistribution modifier 1.2. We should really define some default values for it. And exponent, let's set it to be 5. And let's assign this to our terrain generator. Here it is, noise, biome noise settings. Let's assign our biome temperature noise settings. Let's press play, and let's generate our terrain. And it will be exactly the same as we have created it previously. Now let me try generating a bit of a bigger world. I'm going to set the chunk drawing range to be something like 8. And now let's try pressing play and generating our world. And everything should be working fine, and we can still traverse our world. Great! So in the next video, we are going to actually make use of our desert biome and generate an algorithm that will define where should we use the desert biome and where should we use our default rocky, grassy biome. Okay, see you in the next video.